Throb never.
The nobody's perfect problem. I say this is problematic because people will use the whole thing of, well, nobody's perfect. I think they use that as a crutch. I think people use the phrase of nobody's perfect as a crutch for mediocrity and underperformance. And I think that's specifically the problem with the American black community, the American black ethnic group, is that we've gotten into this hamster wheel of people wanting to tell people who want to do their absolute best at whatever it is that they do, telling them that, oh, you're just trying to be perfect. Or when you have people that carry themselves in a upstanding way, that carry themselves in a traditionally formal way, with correct posture, correct English, the proper outward behavior and all things. We've gotten our community and our ethnic group into this habit of telling people who behave and carry themselves like that they're trying to be perfect. And they'll actually use it against people. Look at him or her walking around and they think they so perfect. They get on my nerves thinking, like, you ain't better than nobody. See, that's some tricky shit. That's some tricky shit because what it is that they want the people who are carrying themselves to a higher standard. And I don't even know if it's really a higher standard. It's just that there's just a certain way you're supposed to carry yourself, period. And we're experiencing this sort of moral and behavioral degradation due to people expecting everybody to behave on a low level, on a beast level like they do. If it wasn't for people trying to be perfect, if you know anything about, top musicians and singers and athletes and computer programmers and computer scientists and hell, even politicians and doctors and things like that. If it wasn't for people trying to be perfect, for example, all of the great music that we got, we would listen to it and be like, man, how did they do that? Like, man, this shit is perfect. But for the person who created it, it wasn't perfect to them, but they were trying to get it perfect. But to everybody else, it was perfect. They were trying to be perfect. And it gave us great music. Or it gave us great literary works from the great authors. Or it gave us great films from the, classic film directors. Or it gave us, the ability to train the top doctors at, for the top surgeries that they needed to do, even in plastic surgery. Or the more important, organ surgery, organ removal through surgery. These people practiced and practiced so that they were perfect at it. Now, here's the problem. When we stop attempting or trying or stop trying to reach perfection, then we start getting malpractice suits. Leaving a surgery utensil inside the body and then sewing up the victim or the patient. We can tell them motherfuckers weren't trying to be perfect. They didn't go back over and over and over and, hey, make sure this and make sure that and make sure this. But we have these types of things happening all the time. Another example is when I was younger and I worked at fast food. Yeah, it was fast food, but you had to run your position damn near perfect. And back then I used to hate them managers for how, what we called anal they were about, the job in the fast food place. But look at the service you get now. And it's just fast food. We don't even talk about, better restaurants and stuff, but this just fast food. Look at the service of this stuff now. Look at the quality of the food you get. And this is all from people lowering the bar and telling people, "Oh, you just trying to be perfect." See, we have the 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 mass of people who don't want to and don't care about how they put forth effort. They want to, infect the rest of society with their low level behavior so that they don't have to do any better themselves. So they'll, by proxy, punish the people who put forth a good job. If it wasn't for perfection and trying to be perfect, we wouldn't have the buildings that are built that are lasting as long as they last. On the other hand, you look at not trying to be perfect and the newer buildings that are, newer than the buildings that were built in times past, they collapsing all over the place. You'd be lucky to get 25 solid years out of it without it falling apart. So I don't like that nobody's perfect situation. And it's, I hate to bring it up because it seems like, when we bring this up, like we coming directly at the women, but I got to put it out there, man. Like, I think a lot of that started with the women. I remember when I was in school and growing up and, I would always hear women, "No, nobody's perfect." Or hear people in relationships and she'll say, "Well, you just want me to be perfect." No, it's not that. And it's not just the women, it's the men too. But I'm saying that these people will use this idea of nobody's perfect and we shouldn't expect nobody to be perfect. I think they use that as a crutch to not behave or perform at a level that, will keep society and the people at a more sophisticated and outwardly respectful appearance and image. So we got this thing where everybody wants to rely on this. Well, nah, I ain't gonna be faking and acting like that. I'm gonna just keep it real. And so but what comes with that, all that keeping it real and supposedly not faking and all this and that, they'll take that and say, "I'm not gonna be putting on no airs for nobody." They'll take that as meaning that they should be able to walk out the house without their hair being combed, or to walk out the house with a bonnet and pajamas on, and all sorts of other types of stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All of this is a direct happening, a direct effect of people falling for that nobody's perfect trope. I think that's real sneaky. I think it's real insidious. Because like I said, if it wasn't for people trying to be perfect, all of the great works that we got, we wouldn't have. I think it's just sickening, man. Like, because the country and society is really propping up these bad behaving and hedonistic and heathen ass people. You'll say, "Well, you curse, use cuss word." Okay, yeah. But that's part of the thing too. Like, where it's so easy for people to say, "Well, look at what he said," rather than hearing the message. Like, I've never had anything really against Steve Harvey, but I heard a clip of him saying something the other day that I just thought was the stupidest thing, just from my personal opinion. He was saying that anytime you hear somebody saying, that they godly or acting like they godly, and then you hear ungodly things come out their mouth, don't listen to that person. Now, on the surface, yeah, he's got a point. But then he further says, because godly people don't do ungodly things. Godly people don't let ungodly things come out their mouth. So I'm wondering, like, okay, I hear you, Steve, but this is coming from the man who sat up there on the Kings of Comedy and used the most foul language to the audience in his comic skit. I'm like, man, shut up. The thing is, it's not about nobody's perfect. The thing is, everybody has flaws. That's on a personal, ethical, moral level. We're not talking about, things that can be done damn near perfectly. On a religious, godly level, everybody sins. We know that. But you have no right to be talking about ungodly things don't come out of godly people's mouths. Not trying to hear that. But I just wanted to touch on that whole nobody's perfect thing. I think it's used as a way to lower the standard and expected behavior and sophistication of the American black ethnic group. I don't appreciate that shit. So yeah, try to be perfect. I'm out.
Heart throb never.